Here we are on JRTV for the finale of the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Golden Corral 500. 32 races into the season, and it comes down to this for the championship. While Tim Gary basically has it locked up, there's a slim possibility that Luke Rainey could tie for the championship and win the tiebreaker. We'll go over that scenario in a few moments' time. But today, it's all about going for the race victory at Atlanta. 42 cars look to win the final race of 2004. It's the Golden Corral 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Joe Rakowski. Trey brought alongside me in the booth. Trey, great to be here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the finale of the season here in Hampton, Georgia. Always a fun racetrack to come to, but a racetrack that's been owned by Hendrick Motorsports as of late. They've won the last 4 straight races at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and all 4 of those races have been the only 4 races on this new configuration to the quad-shaped oval. So Hendrick Motorsports very good here, and they have 4 cars starting inside the top 8. Do you think they're the ones to beat here today?
I think it's hard not to root against them, right? I mean, it's like you mentioned, they essentially own this track, so I think it's going to be a good day here. I mean, I don't remember a bad experience at this racetrack.
Exactly, yeah. It's always a fun one when we come to Atlanta. Always some unpredictability and always some kind of underdogs that find their way to the front of the field to try and challenge. We'll see if any of those drivers decide to step up here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But we're talking about the championship battle. Tim Gary left Rockingham exactly 200 points up on Luke Rainey in the 88 car. This presents one unlikely scenario for Luke Rainey to win this championship here today. If Luke leads the most laps and wins this race, he'll get 200 points. And then Tim Gary needs to get 0 points. So the only way for Luke to get this championship is he wins the race leading the most laps, and Tim Gary finishes 2nd or 3rd, and then his car is illegal, fails inspection, and then they get 0 points out of the day, assuming the appeal that obviously would come from that would not lean positive for MB2 Motorsports. So, Trey, there's a less than 1% chance, I would say, probably a 0.0001% chance of this championship going to Luke Rainey, but there's still a possibility.
You're saying there's a chance. That's all that Luke Rainey needs to hear to go out here and try to race for a championship, but it's you can definitely say it's a reach.
Yeah, I would say I'm not counting on it to happen, right? I mean, even if Luke wins the race, leads the most laps, if Tim finishes 4th, guess what? He's the champion, because then it's like, hey, I'd rather finish 4th than 2nd or 3rd, because the 4th place car doesn't go through inspection after the race. So we'll have to see how it plays out here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The thing we know is that all 42 drivers are here to win this race, because even if Tim wins and his car's illegal, he still keeps Luke from the maximum points on the day. So, all 42 cars are here to win this race here today. There's not really any points that will be falling throughout the day. It's all going to be about who wins this race. And for a lot of drivers at the front, they're looking for their first wins on the season still. Riley Spurgeon starting 2nd, hasn't won this season. Kind of shocking with how kind of consistent Robert Yates Racing has been this season. Sarah Kirchner's never won in the Nextel Cup Series. Can today be the day starting in 3rd? Samet Oskin for Fitz Bradshaw Racing, Eli Brett, the team owner, starting inside the top 5 in 5th place. Could he get that first victory of the season? Only a 2nd on the career. Nathan Orman starting just outside the top 10 and 11th. Watch for him in that 41 car. Watch for even a little bit further back, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. He's been good here at Atlanta on this configuration. He starts just inside the top 20, but also on the inside lane. So there are some drivers, Trey, that are looking for their first victories on the season. They could possibly get it done here today at Atlanta. It would be the 20th winner in 32 races if a new winner gets it done today.
Yeah, that would be crazy, but I think it's going to be a little hard. I think everyone wants to win the last race of the season, so if it's going to be a first-time winner, they're definitely going to have to earn it.
Yes, they are. So we'll go take a look at the track facts for the final race of the season. It's a beautiful October day here in Hampton, Georgia, 72 degrees and clear sunny skies with just a little bit of wind around this racetrack. 1.54 miles is the track length. That's just about 2.5 kilometers. 65 lap race here today, 100.1 miles. That is once again longer than the race here earlier in the season, so they have to go a little bit longer on their tires to try and get to the midway point of the race and maybe split the race in half. The fuel window, 34 to 37 laps, so they'll be able to go past the midway point. We'll have to see how that all plays out, because tires mean a lot here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 24 degrees of banking in the corners and 5 degrees on the straights. And as mentioned, Hendrick Motorsports has won the last 4 Atlanta races. All of those have been on the new configuration, so no one other than Hendrick has won in this configuration. 4 cars starting inside the top 8. They would have had 5 inside the top 10 had Drew Webb not failed post-qualifying inspection. He's back there with Drew Martinelli. Both were set to start inside the top 12. The 8 cars that went home and are not racing today: Henry Guo in the 0, Skylar Taylor in the 09, the 14 of John Barrymore, the 22 of Nathan Baird, the 42 of Nathan Stapleton, Colin Teague in the 49, Joe Staups in the 51, and Tegan Fox in the 59 are home early and not racing here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, let's go down trackside, fire the cars up for the 2004 Golden Corral 500, the finale of the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season.
Drivers, start your engines!
Copy there, Brett. Yes, sir. Real good, man. All right, 1-2, got a copy on me in the car. Straight on. Good on all that. Yeah, 10-4. Yes, sir.
And there move 42 cars for the final race of 2004 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Trey, the audience must have known that Hendrick Motorsports is good here because they've picked Lathan Strickland with 42% of the vote. Strickland looking for his first ever win here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, but his average finish in the last 3 races this season, 27.3. So he's been on a downward spiral as of late. He's looking to end the season on the right note and get Hendrick its 5th straight win here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But Trey, who's your pick to win here today in the finale of 2004?
Well, he's a pretty big guy this season. He started on the inside line. It's the 10 car, Tim Gary. Now, I know you're saying it's a low ball, but how can you not go with the guy who's essentially locked up the championship?
Guess what? He's looking to still end that long winless drought. Hasn't won since 2001. It's been 121 races. Could he break that and win the championship in the same race? He has 4 top 5s in the last 5 races. And Trent, I'm going to go just outside your pick to the 16 of Zachary DeLello. He's been good here in the past. He's been good as of late. Top 10 finishes in the last 3 of the last 4 races this season. I think DeLello can get back to victory lane one final time in 2004. But they'll have to get by Keegan Thompson, who won this race last season. He starts from pole position, Spurgeon to flanking to his outside right. Green flag in the air for the finale of 2004 at Atlanta. Door to door for the lead this entire first lap. Spurgeon and Thompson can't get away. Thompson has the inside lane through 3 and 4. Gets the run, nearly clears Spurgeon, 3 wide behind them as Keegan Thompson leads the first lap of the last race of 2004. And Cement Oskin breaking out 3 wide for second place into turn 1. Oskin being aggressive with Luke Rainey and Tim Gary right behind on the inside trying to move forward. Kirchner through the middle, gets through well. 3 wide about 3 rows deep up the back straightaway behind them.
Well, we'll have to see how aggressive Luke Rainey is here at the start of this thing. He needs to get up front and just start leading laps here if he wants to have a chance at this. So we'll see if he pushes himself up there or not, as we got a couple of situations of 3-ride racing here. These guys are extremely close racing for the beginning of this race. Even possibly a little contact there entering one, but I don't think so. Almost looking 4-wide.
Yeah, we were almost 4-wide. Kukulon being aggressive early on, getting spots on the initial start. His teammate Sarah Kirchner moving up nicely to the back bumper of Keegan Thompson. Jerry Chen was outside. He got low underneath teammate Lathan Strickland. He makes a 3-wide move, bringing Fitzwater and Laura Chung to the inside as well. Matt Tuck being aggressive in the 23, trying to get low with Anthony Hernandez in the number 1. Here comes Fitzwater looking 3 wide on 2 Hendrick cars into turn 1. Hernandez behind, nearly shoving Matt Tuck up. The 1 barely gets to the inside. They're going to be 3 wide behind them, as at the front, 3 cars break away, and Tim Gary's one of them. He's running down Kirchner, looking for a pass for a second place off into turns 3 and 4. Tim Gary being aggressive early on. He's moving through to second and might have a shot for the lead off turn number 4.
I'll have to see if he can get a run going onto the front stretch here. He's going to duck low below Keegan Tops. He's not going to lead this lap, but he has a good chance of doing it next time by here as he gets the preferred lane in the 1 and 2.
And there he goes, Tim Gary, looking to win the championship, lock it up here today. And he's going to take the lead on lap number 5. Gary now leads the Golden Corral 500. Lathan Strickland going 3 wide on Kukulon and Kirchner down to the inside. Luke Rainey trying to get up here and make that nearly impossible scenario a possibility here today. He'll look low for second place as Gary comes off the corner with the lead, and the number 10 leads his first lap of the day. 5 bonus points there for Tim Gary, trying to maybe win the championship by even more than 200 points as Strickland sticks it in 3 wide to the bottom of the 48, being aggressive early on. He gets a little tight down low, and Luke Rainey gets the run through the middle, and the 88 car's up to second place. Trey, how about this? Tim Gary first, Luke Rainey second on lap number 6.
It only makes sense, but Luke Rainey only sees one thing, and that's that 10 car, and he's got to get past him here to start leading some laps. So we'll have to see what happens if he can get up to the back of that 10, as we've got a couple of other names slowly making their way to the front here, the 32, 33, the 9, a couple of drivers who we didn't really talk about much this season, but they're making their presence known here in the last race.
Yep, Jacob Miller got that one win earlier this season in the Daytona night race in stunning fashion, trying to get another win to end the season out. In fact, he was the fastest car in practice yesterday, as here we go for the lead. Luke Rainey, Tim Gary, door-to-door, side-by-side. Strickland wondering where to go. Too close to call it the line, and they give it to Luke Rainey. So I'd say that was maybe by, what, a thousandth or two that Luke Rainey led that lap?
It was less than an inch, I think you could say.
Yeah, I don't know how we can measure it, but I'd say that's a good way to go about that. As Luke Rainey now takes the lead away from Tim Gary. Gary trying to fend off Strickland as the 48 gets by, now trying to get back by him as they work through 3 and 4. Those three have pulled a gap as they battle for 4th, as Gary's looking back inside for a 2nd place, so being aggressive here. Battle for 4th, as mentioned, Mitchell Collins inside of Jacob Miller gets the spot. Kukulon coming with him. They have Thompson, he started on pole, he's dropped back a little bit, but still inside the top 10. Just kind of hanging tough. Fitzwater still inside the top 10. Eli Bright trying to get up here and get some spots and points as Collins blocking off Kukulon there as they catch the front 3. Thompson low on Miller. That's for the 6th position. Here comes Eli Bright breaking up inside the top 10. Riley Spurgeon is there. Then you have Jerry Chen and Kirchner side by side back there. Mathis Wells has moved from outside the top 30. He's inside the top 15 right now. Evan Hunter outside the top 20. He's inside the top 15 as well. Still 3 wide racing further back as Nathan Orman gets aggressive with Burnett and the one of Hernandez. Hunter Reed, one of the slowest cars in qualifying, is moving up inside the top 20. Other guys that started poorly, like Keyshawn Richardson and Chris Jericho, are moving up nicely through the field. They both started outside the top 35 and making their way up to the front of the field as
oh my goodness,
that was close call there between the 99 and the 18. Jericho being aggressive, trying to salvage another win out of what has been a very disappointing 2004 campaign. Jordan Stout, another driver who had to start towards the back of the field, being aggressive early on. And Drew Webb looking to lock up Rookie of the Year honors, down with Ahmed Walid for that. Right now, Webb is coming from the back of the field after inspection failure. He's moving up further forward as Randall's dropping back in the 97. Next to the 2 Zidell's back here. There's Ahmed Walid. Belladonna's still stuck back here. So is Jude Martinelli and Conrad Evans. Baby Ruiz and Justin Atkins, one of the last cars. That's big for Atkins because he's battling Trey for 3rd and even 2nd in the point standings. So he was only about 15 points behind Luke Rainey for 2nd place entering this race. But with Atkins stuck back outside the top 40, very disastrous start to the race for him, and he could lose that 3rd position in points to his teammate Kukulon or even to Mathis Wells or the guys coming behind. So Atkins, if he doesn't get his act together, could drop many spots in points here today.
Yeah, definitely. But Joe, I don't know about you. Luke Rainey's doing what he needs to do right now. He's out front, leading laps. Tim Gary is putting himself in 3rd. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like that right now. I think right now I just kind of want to sit in 4th.
Yeah, I think 4th and 3rd, they're basically the same thing, right? So might as well just take your 4th place, let Kukulon have 3rd. But I know Tim, right? Right now you're only on lap number 13. He wants to get to this 3rd place, then get to 2nd, then get to the lead and win the race and win the championship in the same race. So I think Tim will be aggressive here. Maybe if we get late in the race and he knows he can't catch the leader and he's just going to finish, 2nd or 3rd, maybe he drops a position or 2 and says, all right, I'll just take 4th place, get my championship and leave.
Yeah, Tim Gary is definitely in the control seat essentially right at the beginning or at the end of this thing, because all he has to do is just essentially cross the start finish line at the end of this thing, and he'll be a-okay. But we'll have to see how everything develops here, because you never know what's going to happen during these races, as we have the 48 now going for the lead on Luke Rainey. As looks like he's going to be able to take it coming off of 2 here because he's got the preferred line in 1 and 2. Actually, looks like Luke Rainey might want to battle on the outside a little bit.
Yeah, Luke's saying, listen, I need to lead every lap I can here today, and he's fighting aggressively with Strickland. But I think Lathan is the preferred lane here into turns 3 and 4, should easily get the spot made. So Strickland back out in front here in the Golden Corral 500. Here comes Tim Gary for 2nd place, pushing Luke Rainey back. So now with Luke not in the lead and not leading laps, Gary can go up here and challenge as much as he wants inside the top 3. If because Luke's not getting the maximum points that he needs to even tie Tim Garrett for the championship. As here comes Spurley Tube and Eli Bright. They're joining the fun inside the top 5 as Eli looks low on Spurley Tube for 4th place up the back straightaway. Eli's been very consistent here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway since the configuration. Has a 12.3 average finish here in the 4 reconfiguration starts, so he's always found a way to finish well here at this racetrack. Had a car that maybe could have won this race earlier in the season, got some damage on pit road, kind of slowed him down. And here today, looking like he has that same speed, up in 4th place, right behind the front 2 in the championship. And if Eli has a good enough day, he can move his way up inside the top 5 in the championship at season's end, while his teammates have kind of struggled this season. So Eli has shown that he has the pace in that number 8 car from DEI to run well, as that was close contact there between the 88 and the 10.
If you saw the entire time down that front stretch, Joe, but Luke Rainey was maybe 6 inches off the back bumper of Tim Gary the entire time. And then into turn 1, he was maybe 6 inches off the left rear quarter panel with Tim Gary the entire time. I don't think I've ever seen Luke Rainey be this aggressive during a race than he is right now.
And you know what's funny about him being aggressive? If the 10 wrecks, it's actually better for Tim Gary because he can't fail inspection if he's not inside the top 3. So as aggressive as Luke is being, he has to be careful. If he wrecks Tim Gary, then Luke's chance at the championship are completely gone.
If I'm Tim Gary, I mean, it's not going to be good to wreck a car, but I might as well just play really defensive, and whatever happens, happens, right?
Exactly, yeah. Tim's in a position where, hey, if I wreck, I don't care, so he can be very aggressive here today. That's the benefit, right? He's had such a solid, consistent season. He can go out here, go for broke, try and win this race at all costs, because he wants that first victory of the season. I mean, we've never had, Trey, a winless champion in the Nextel Cup Series. In fact, the least amount of wins a champion has had in their season, you have to look back to 2001. Chris Jericho did it with 2 victories. Every other champion has had 3 or more wins in a season.
So Tim Gary's trying to make history in 2 ways. One, become a champion of this very, very big series, and 2, do it without winning a single race. So I don't know which one I'd rather have my name on.
There's the man that held the former record of least amount of wins by a champion in a season, Jericho, back in 2001. His 2 victories, and here he is. He's racing his way up, marching his way up from the back of the field to the top 5. We know Tim is going to break his record today. The question will be if it's with 0 wins or 1 win. If Tim can get to victory lane here today. Is Luke Rainey going back for the lead on Lathan Strickland. Mitchell Collins moving up for Penske Jasper Racing. Moving up on the inside lane, going for 2nd place into turns 3 and 4. Mitchell Collins putting his name at the front of the field as a driver to watch out for. In fact, as Luke washes up the track, here comes that number 12, digging hard off turn number 4. Looking to get to the quarter panel, get some side draft up the straightaway. He's to the inside with a spot for the race lead into turn 1. Here comes that number 12 being aggressive down the bottom of the racetrack.
I mentioned it. Luke Rainey is being very aggressive here today, and it looks like he was a little too aggressive on corner entry into 3. He got the bottom, but too much speed washed it up the racetrack that allowed the 12 to get to the inside here, Joe. And I don't know if you see behind Luke here, but it is a big line of cars coming his way, so we'll have to see if he can fit himself in here behind the 10 or if Eli Bright's going to cover up that hole.
Looks like they got bound behind, got too far back, but as the 88 still on the outside of the 10, maybe if they get a good enough run through this corner. See, the 88, they're kind of fighting back on the outside of Tim Gary. I think he'll get in line right here off turn 2, though, as Gary is going to slide up the hill. How about the run through the field for the 84 of Drew Webb? We mentioned he failed inspection, went to the back, started 41st here today, but he's up inside the top 10 now, getting by DeLello and going for 9th on Jacob Miller. The rookie's looking to lock up Rookie of the Year with maybe a race victory here today. The 84, aggressive and strong. That's another one of those Hendrick cars, Trey. We know they're strong here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think we're surprised at all to see at least one Hendrick, maybe 2, working their way up and trying to get into this top 5 and go for the win. But right now, I really think it's anyone's race to win here.
I would say the 3 favorites that I have are the 48, the 10, the 88, just because they've stayed up here. They haven't really fallen back. But, yeah, for sure, if you play the strategy right, I think I like this 84. He hugged the bottom of the racetrack. He's going 3 wide here to move his way up inside the top 5, or tried to at least. Hunter Reed, another driver to come from the back of the field, that 45 car. So Hunter Reed, also another strong car that had to come from the back of the field, move his way up and get by a lot of guys. So there's a lot of strong contenders, and don't count out drivers that are back outside the top 10 if you play the right pit strategy. For drivers like Ryan Wilson or Mathis Welser to come from back of the field, or even Jude Martinelli came from 42nd. He's up inside the top 20. Evan Hunter coming from the back. Jordan Stout as well. So there are drivers back here. If you play the right strategy, come in a little bit earlier than other drivers around you, you can leapfrog, get that track position, then try and hold on for the rest of the race. This will be fascinating to watch with how close all these guys are around this racetrack.
Yeah, this is just very interesting to watch all this take, effect here. As you can see, Luke Rainey's passing Tim Gary yet again. Now he's going to work his way onto the second place position. He washed up the track yet again. So clearly, Joe, this car of Luke Rainey is very tight off turn 4.
I think the tires are starting to go out, though, as well, because these times are falling off. They're multiple seconds slower than they were at the start of the race, and we're nearing pit stops, right? We're within about maybe 7-10 laps of coming down pit road. 4 tires and fuel to make it to the end of the race. As Eli Bright made a big move there, got 2 spots in 1 move from the 45 and the 16. Now continuing his charge up inside the top 7 is Drew Webb. Aggressive with Tim Gary to the inside for the 84. I think Tim's letting him go right there. Webb now up inside the top 5 after starting all the way back in 41st place. This 84 car is cruising to the front of the field.
Tim Gary is just slowly sliding back, going into safer and safer positions here as Luke Rainey is going to slowly try to make his way forward here, trying to get past 2. But I think everyone right now is just trying to talk with their crew chiefs, figure out what they need for the second adjustment in the second half of this race, right? So we'll have to see what the strategy is with pit road-wise. I'll be curious to see if anyone decides to undercut or overcut or what all is going to go down.
And here's something we've seen this season, especially as of late. This number 10 car, maybe not all that great in the first run of the race, but they make a pit stop, they have a good stop, they get out there, and they fire off in the second half of the race like a completely different race car. Well, here today, he's been a top 5 car pretty much all day long. So if he's already that good, Trey, if it continues that trend, they make the adjustments, this number 10 car is a shot to go out there and win this race here today. So Tim Gary knows if he can stay close to the front, he knows his crew can go up there and make adjustments, get some spots on pit road as well. And that number 10 car could be in contention for the race victory. So watch that number 10 after pit stops. If it comes alive just like it has the last few races this season, they've been so good in the second half of these races.
You mentioned you like the way this 84 is running the corners, just painting the white line essentially, right? Well, you can tell how much he's backing up almost in the middle of the corner. It's like you can see him just lose a big gap on the guys he's battling with just to stay on that bottom line. But at the same time, Joe, that's how you save tires with these cars. So he's doing himself a favor, even if it looks like he's slowly losing time to the guys in front of him. It's just because those tires are in a little bit better condition than anyone else.
This has just been some chaotic racing as of late. These guys are slicing and dicing back and forth, trying to get spots, whatever spots they can before pit stops come around, because we're within about 5 or so laps of these guys coming down pit road for their only pit stop of the race. Meanwhile, Luke Rainey is running down Lathan Strickland for the lead. We're looking 3 wide for 4th place. Collins and Gary both climb the hill. Jacob Miller was patient on the bottom. Here comes the number 9 to the inside, 3 wide. Further up the road, the battle for the lead is on. Luke Rainey inside of Strickland gets tight down low, has to lift. 48 might be able to keep it, but the 88 gets the run off the corner as Miller gets the 2-for-1 deal at the back straightaway. Here comes Luke Rainey for the lead on Strickland.
He's going to absolutely send it into 3 there.
That bottom lane has the grip, doesn't it? And Luke Rainey is going to take the lead away just before the midway point of the Golden Corral 500. 3 wide behind them. Hunter Reed being aggressive from the back of the field. Jude Martinelli getting a run and moving out low. That 77 started last year today. He's up inside the top 15, has the top 10 in his sights. 3 wide on Spruce, but Eli Bright through turns 1 and 2. And the 77 gets both those spots and looking for some more up the back straightaway.
This is a big group of cars here for this late into the run. Normally we're pretty spread out, but I don't know what it is. Everyone is really close together here. It's almost like Tim Gary holding them up a little bit. I'm not quite sure. Finally, the 6 is going to be able to get underneath the 10 car, but this is weird to see this late into a run.
Jordan Stout, another driver who has not yet won this season after what has been the last few seasons, such a consistent and great stretch of races in a season for him. He hasn't found victory lane. Could today be the day? Started way back outside the top 30. Here he is, though, marching up just before pit stops inside the top 5, getting by Tim Gary, Jacob Miller coming with them as the battle for lead is still tight. Luke Rainey, Lathan Strickland, Sebastian Kuklon all lined up as they work their way into the quad oval. We're past the midway point. We're nearing 30 laps to go, 31 laps to go here at the Landmark Speedway. The pit window is open. We'll have to see who makes the move onto pit road first. No one has done so within the last lap. Everyone's still out there kind of marching along, doing their own thing. as these front three have really gotten a nice gap. So we'll have to see if anyone tries the undercut here or do the leaders. Here comes Lathan Strickland, I think, coming into pit road.
They got to be careful here not to overdrive the entry, as well as making sure no one behind them runs into them. You can see a big group of cars coming in this time around. Is that Tim Gary? That's fourth car in line there?
Tim Gary is in with Jacob Miller, Jordan Stout, Hunter Reed, and a bunch of others. Lathan Strickland first in of the front three, so he should get a nice gap. The question is, how does this maybe hurt some guys in the longer run? So the first group is in. Angel Gutierrez also coming in. We'll see Luke Rainey, Special Kukulon. I think they have to come in now and try to cover off what Lathan Strickland just did.
Definitely seems like they're slowing them up, getting them ready to enter on pit road here. Does anyone stay out one more lap longer? We got one. It's the 77 and the 15.
Yeah, so Jude Martinelli and Ryan Wilson are saying, listen, we want to stay out here and try and get the tires on later, get the advantage that way. Martinelli, he had a car that carved his way up from the last place starting spot to move his way up inside the top 10. So we know that car is strong, and it looks pretty strong in the long run. So maybe he's not losing as much time as some of the others that maybe would have tried to stay out. But here comes Martinelli and Wilson. I think they're going to be coming in this lap for sure.
Yeah, they definitely have to. I don't see any way that they stay out one more lap, as see them finally get them on pit road. At least it'll be decently quiet here with the rest of the cars essentially getting to finish off here. Careful with that one car, and we're back open and underway.
Jordan Stout jumped Lathan Strickland, it looks like, on pit road. I think the 48 crew had a not so good stop. Jordan Stout was out and away, and I believe this number 6 car is going to be the leader of this race now.
Yeah, I don't know. He made a big jump here. Where did Luke Rainey end up at?
Yeah, 88 car. Did he have a bad stop, or is he still on pit road?
Oh no. Where is the 88, Joe?
5 to 99 there, and yeah, he's on pit
road.
road.
Oh no. Oh no.
So a big misfortune for Luke Rainey. He's already, basically non-zero chance of winning this championship, and it might just turn to a zero chance now as he's on pit road, falling laps down. 88 car might be out of the running for the championship now without a shot to win this race.
Yeah, and who knows what could have happened there for them to... I mean, Joe, they were extremely fast here. Like you mentioned, they were definitely in contention to win this thing and lead the most laps like they needed to do, but unfortunately something happened on pit road to where this car has yet to leave its pit stall, and I think, like you mentioned, it's pretty much guaranteed at this point.
So as it cycled through, it's spread out, but Jordan Stout, with a great pit stop on pit road, leads this race by about 1 1/3 seconds over Jacob Miller, who's fighting for second with Lathan Strickland, also Pre McShane on pit road on the 00. So as it cycles through, Stout leads this race, but 0.2 of a second gone from his lead that lap by Miller and Strickland both, as they're running that number 6 down. Hunter Reed, who nearly won this race earlier in the season, but was passed with 2 to go by Matthew Burnett. Hunter Reed can maybe do the opposite here today. He's up in 4th place and running down the leader. Tim Gary, looking for that first win since 2001 with the championship, rides inside the top 5. Then you have a 3-way battle for 6th. Mitchell Collins and Kukulon are coming on better tires, getting by Matt as well as at 6th, 7th, and 8th. Crown Jr. now 9th. Evan Hunter in a fight for 10th with Tyler Belladonna. We've not called that 17 today. He's up inside the top 10, but now fighting for it with Hunter and Jericho. And the number 18. Then you have Drew Webb there, right now holding down Rookie of the Year honors. A few seconds ahead of that driver's fight with Ahmed Wallen. Then you have DeLello there. There's Wallen, Chen. There's Martinelli, stayed out longer. Eli Bright, Dixon, and Hernandez are both inside the top 20. Down to Evans and Spro down here, the 2 car. The 21 who's looking to get up inside the top 35 in owners points for next season, trying to get by that 00 who's having issues on pit road, and 00 finally leaving. There's Atkins, who's having a struggling day, better than when we last saw him. Matthew Burnett, who won earlier in the season at Atlanta, is down here. Keegan Thompson from pole is outside the top 30. Keyshawn Richardson is down here as well. Sarah Kurtzer started well. She's down outside the top 35. They're finally doing some service on the 88 car, so they found the issue, but he's now 4 laps down, make it 5, and McShane also multiple laps down, but here's the 3-way battle for the lead. Stout, Miller, Strickland, if they 3 start battling, Reed and Tim Gary are close enough, and then don't count out Kukulon and Collins on the better tires coming from behind.
I mean, this just goes to show you what all can happen during a race. I mentioned it. You never know what's going to happen during one of these things, and Luke Rainey is, I think it's a championship contention here, as I believe he's finally off pit road, but also, I mean, these are two out of the three cars right here are totally different contenders than what we thought in this first half of the race, right? The only one that's the same is this 48. Other than that, these other two, where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. Jacob Miller kind of hung around the back after the top 10, right? Maybe, made his way up inside the top 5 for like a second, and then kind of kept dropping back to around, 10th, 12th place. But here he is now with Jordan Stout. We didn't call the 6 car until way late in that first run, but as they worked their way down the front stretch in turns 1 and 2, Jacob Miller now leads the Golden Corral 500 again by Jordan Stout. So they've run that 6 car down. The 9 has gotten by. Is Strickland back there saving tires straight? Is that the reason why he didn't really go for the pass immediately? He's saying, all right, listen, I'm going to hope that these two start battling to use their tires up, and I could be the one there at the end, especially with the fact the 45 and the 10 and the 29 on better tires are running those front 3 down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the smart decision here. Just kind of don't push yourself, but keep pace with the front 2, right? You don't have to fall back a whole amount, but you can definitely fall back a little bit there and still be able to, make up any ground you lose, especially if you save tires. So we'll have to see what the plan is for this 48 crew. As you can see, the 00 of Priya McShane is working the bottom here, passing a couple of cars, as definitely having the fresher tires compared to everyone else out here right now.
Jordan Stout has passed Jacob Miller back. Miller wants it right back away. So Stout passed Miller the last lap. Here comes that number 9 to try and pass him back the immediate next lap. But Stout got a great run off the top of turns 1 and 2. He sends it into 3 and 4, but misses the bottom. Miller fills the bottom. They're going to be side by side for the lead again. This is only helping Hunter Reed and Tim Gary, and especially Sebastian Kukulon out. They are running the leaders down. The more they battle like this, here they come. Hunter Reed cuts a little bit out. Kukulon's past Tim Gary already. He's within 2 seconds of the lead. That 29 car better tires is flying and should get by Hunter Reed within the next few laps.
We'll see what Lathan Strickland decides to do here. I thought for a second, Joe, I'll be honest, I thought he was going to force it 3 wide. He's still trying to get to that bottom lane.
And he will get to the bottom. Here comes Lathan Strickland for the lead. Kukulon's already by Hunter Reed. The car in better tires is coming forward as Miller clears and leads. Strickland for second. He'll clear Jordan Stout for that spot. Kukulon now within a second and a half of the race leaders. That 29 car coming on the better tires. But Priya McShane on even better tires is going to kind of disrupt this battle for the lead, because she has better tires because she's been on pit road for a few laps, and already, look, I think they're just giving her the bottom.
I mean, that just goes to show you how big tires matter at a track like this, right? Because for a car that's been running essentially in the last, right, is able to just, oh!
Wow.
Goodness gracious, Joe.
We almost just saw 2 of the top 3 fall out of the race right there.
That was, I don't know what happened there, but the 6 almost just essentially dumped the 48. But like I was saying, fresh tires matter a lot here, because that's just going to allow that 29 car to catch in a big way here and probably carry this momentum all the way to the bottom here and possibly past the 48. But the 48's going to block. But Joey got a new contender for this race win.
Yes, we do. Sebastian Kukulon so strong to end out this season. That number 29 has been stout as of late. His average finish in the last 5 races is 5.8. He's up there in the battle for the top 3 in points.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, look at that move. He makes 3 wide on Strickland and Stout through the middle of 3 and 4. He'll get both those spots by the time they get to the start-finish line. And Trent, with Luke Rainey having his issues today, finishing down outside the top 40 as it stands, Kukulon has a shot, if he can get a lot of points today, to finish this season 2nd or 3rd in the point standings. How about that?
I mean, someone might say, it's not the championship, but still, one position in the standings, Joe, means a lot to a race team. So anything you can get, especially if it's just from 3rd to 2nd in the standings, that's all that matters to some of these guys, right? So this 29 is definitely on a mission right now, as I don't know what it is going on with Stout and Strickland right now, but they are not giving each other an inch.
No, they are not. They are being so aggressive here today. Stout and Strickland at 6 is going to take that spot back from the 48. The 9 got held up in lap traffic with Fitzwater, and here comes Kukulon. I mean, it's only a matter of time before the 29 gets by the 9 using the better tires. He's already diving low to the inside of the number 9 car, and we're going to have a lead change this next lap. Miller's going to lead this one, but the car that was fast in practice, the 9 car, cannot hold off the 29 on the better tires. Here comes the 29 of Kukulon down to the bottom. Using just a lap or 2 better tires, he'll take the lead away, and now will he pull away?
We'll have to see what he can do here, Jay. You would have to think with the speed that this 29's got, he's definitely going to be able to pull away, especially if the 9 has company on his inside who's not even for his position right now. It's going to allow that 29 to pull even further right now as he still can't get to the inside.
Jacob Miller's got to be a little bit frustrated with Fitzwater right there. The 32 is a lap car. He's not going to go up there and pass the 29. So I think he would have been better off just kind of falling in behind those two and letting them go away. But now he's creating a gap for Kukulon, and see Miller dive low again to try and get back by. I want to give a call to Mathis Wells, who did not start this race all that well and has had such a dismal stretch of races as of late. And it's the longest stretch of his career, Trey, where he's gone without a top 5 finish. It's been 10 races since his last top 5 finish. Right now he's inside the top 5 and looking for some more, going for 4th on Lathan Strickland. So this number 20 car, they've brought a good setup here today. They have a fast race car. He's going for 4th on Lathan Strickland. Could possibly get to 3rd, maybe even 2nd, as Stout and Miller ride up the road. So for Mathis Wells, you know, he had a great season up until, you know, about Talladega or so, where it kind of all crumbled apart for that number 20 team. But they're looking to end the season on a high note. Who knows, maybe get a spot inside the top 3 in the championship at season's end.
Yeah, that definitely could be a possibility there for this 20 team. Like you mentioned, 10 races without a top 5, which to some drivers, you know, that's not very long at all. To other drivers, that's a lifetime. But for this 20 crew, with I feel like, you know, they've always been in contention to win races here. That's a lifetime. Oh my goodness, that was a lifetime of them, and that was almost a life-ending race wreck there for both this 12 and the 45.
Mitchell Collins getting aggressive, blocking off that 45 of Hunter Reed. He wants to keep that spot, as that is a fight for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Tim Gary, unlike what we've seen the last few races, have not been good in the second half of this race, starting to fall back towards Roberto Crown Jr. Maybe what he wants to do is fall back to his teammate, team owner Evan Hunter. They can cross the line together for MB2 Warrior Sports, because MB2 is getting their first ever championship here today. With Tim Gary at the helm, it will be Dodge's first ever championship and the number 10's first ever championship as well. As Evan Hunter is currently fighting for 10th with Chris Jericho on the 18. And those two teams, Joe Gibbs Racing and MB2 Motorsports, they used to have a pretty good relationship until obviously MB2 had to leave, or in fact it was Joe Gibbs Racing left the Pontiac fold first. Then MB2 got forced out of the Pontiac fold, and now there's Chevy for Joe Gibbs Racing, Dodge for MB2, as a Joe Gibbs Racing car takes 3rd from Jordan Stout. Wells is up to 3rd, but he's a 2.5 seconds behind Kukulon with 6 laps to go at the line. He has a shot, Jacob Miller. I think the 9's used up his tires, because here comes Fitzwater looking low. The number 9 car is struggling with 6 laps to go, trying to hold on for whatever he can by the end of this race.
So, with everything that's played out so far, I think we can agree Tim Gary's done what he needed to do, and that's essentially just ride on the racetrack, right? And he had a little help there from the misfortunes of the 88 on pit road. Definitely some sort of mechanical issue going on there. And now with Luke Rainey being multiple laps down, Tim Gary just has to survive, 4 more laps here, and I think it's safe to say that he's got it locked up.
Well, he does have it locked up, because Luke can't win this race, and Tim's not finishing inside the top 3. So, I mean, the solace for Luke Rainey is that Tim Gary's not up there inside the top 3, right? Because the only way Luke could win this championship is if that number 10 car failed inspection. The only cars that go through inspection are the top 3 finishers. So even if Luke didn't have those issues, was up there bound for the win, the 10 car's not doing good enough for the 10 to even, or for the 88 to even have a shot at the championship. As there's 4 laps to go, this is the battle for 10th place going on. They're actually catching up to champion Tim Gary up there up the road. That's 9th place. Up here, battle for 5th is on. Lathan Strickland, Mitchell Collins are going at it. Collins to the inside the 48 car. Roberto Crown Jr. going to end his season on a high note. It's been, you know, it's been hot or cold as of late for the 43 crew. They finish well. They don't finish well. They finish well. They don't finish well. Today's going to be a finish, a really good finish to end the season out. 3 laps to go. Moving his way up by Strickland for 6th, and could get to the top 5 by Mitchell Collins by the end of this race. 3 laps to go. At the front, it's all Sebastian Kukulon. He's pulled away over 2 seconds. The fight for 2nd is on. Jacob Miller, Mathis Wells. Fitzwater, the lap car, is there. That was close there between the 32 and the 9. Miller up the racetrack fighting with handling on that number 9 car. 2 laps to go for Kukulon. Here's the fight for 2nd place. It's down to Miller and Wells. Does Mathis make it 3 wide and say, I'm done? There he goes.
Oh, this is scary racing, especially one of them being a lap car, Joe. You don't normally see something like this, but they're going to get it figured out here. This is going to be a really intense battle for 2nd place.
Because here comes Jordan Stout, and Stout has a run.
Goodness.
He's looking 3 wide.
Oh, not quite.
Couldn't get there, but he's going to have a shot for third here, as well as clears for second. At the front, all by himself, Kukulon takes the white flag. He has 1.5 miles to go, and he'll win once again here in 2004 and end the season on such a dominant and hot stretch, moving up in points and up and up and up. And here today, going for that second victory of the season. Up the back straightaway for the final time for Sebastian Kukulon, down into turns 3 and 4. Richard Childress Racing has ended the season on such a dominant note. Atkins won last time out. Here today, Atlanta, they break Hendrick Motorsports' dominance. Sebastian Kukulon wins the finale of 2004. Further back in the top 10, side by side the line, MB2 Motorsports finishes it together. Hunter 9th, Tim Gary 10th. And from the basement of teams, MB2 has risen to the top. Tim Gary is the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion.
You think that might have been a planned finish there?
It was like Hollywood script right there, wasn't it? For those two to finish side by side. And I think Tim said, thank you for all the help. Thank you for being such a good team owner. Here's a spot and here's a few more points for your fight for points positions.
I think they just found their new office giant painting, poster, whatever you want to call it, right? But, contact. But anyways, Joe, Tim Gary, he's won the championship. But you know what he hasn't won this season? Was a race. So, what do you make of that?
Yeah, how about that? So consistent, you don't have to win a race to win a championship in a season where NASCAR changed the point system to award more points for race victories.
Tim Gary essentially just said, watch this NASCAR, look what I can do. And it's you can't argue that he hasn't earned it. I mean, this is the easiest way to say that the driver has earned a championship, is that without a single win, that he walks away with it. And I mean, that just goes to show you what MB2 has grown over the years, right? They went from, what was it, a super speedway, essentially a super speedway only chance to win type of team to a championship winning team.
Exactly right. MB2 for the first however many seasons of their career, it was all right, that they need something crazy to happen in a race, or as you mentioned, super speedway race to win a race. And then the last few seasons, they've turned into, hey, we can win anywhere. We can run up front anywhere. And it all kind of started with the acquisition of Tim Gary. They formed a two-car team in 2001. They tapped Tim Gary, who got his start in NASCAR by being a substitute for Hendrick Motorsports in 2000 when Brett Sierra got injured in a terrible crash at the Lowe's Motor Speedway for the end of the season. Tim Gary got tapped to drive the final, 4, 5, 6 races of that season. He performed well enough that Evan Hunter said, we're going to put Tim Gary in our second car. And since then, MB2 has risen and risen and risen, and they have not stopped their climb. And now they are NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champions with Tim Gary at the helm. And they also delivered Dodge their first ever championship in the Nextel Cup Series. That is just sweet all around for MB2 and everyone on that team.
Yeah, definitely. I think, that just goes to show you that you can go from the underdogs to a top team now, and it's great to see. They're going to be absolutely ecstatic as they're celebrating hard. It's going to be a celebration that lasts until the first race of next season, essentially.
I would think so, yeah. But I also think they're going to get to work and try and be as good as possible to defend that championship in 2005, and maybe get a race victory for Tim Gary next season, right?
I think that might be on the to-do list. But honestly, with the luck, with how this race season played out, I don't think they want to win a race.
Yeah, just keep going with that consistency route. It seemed to work out for Tim Gary. But how about this, right? We had mentioned the amount of wins a champion has had in the season they won the championship. As mentioned, Chris Jericho had the least with 2. Now it's Tim Gary with 0. We had 3 titles that had a champion with 3 wins, 6 titles a champion had 4 wins, 4 titles a champion had 5, another 4 with 6, another 4 with 7. The average number of wins a champion had, dating back to the beginning of the Cup Series in 1981, 4.83 wins. Tim Gary just demolished that this season.
Yeah, if you look at that on a chart, Joe, you're going to have one outlier, and that's going to be... That's going to be Tim Gary with sitting at the very bottom, the very left side of 0.0.
And it's not just a little outlier, Trey. That is a big outlier. Oh, my goodness. Well, we'll take a look at the finishing results for the finale of 2004. Sebastian Kukulon and RCR end the season with such a hot stretch of races. The 29 car wins this race by 3.5 seconds over Mathis Wells in car number 20. Third place goes to Jacob Miller. Very solid end to the season, which has not been good for him by any means. Jordan Stout ends up in 4th place in the top 5 for Mitchell Collins to end out the season. So a great variety of drivers and teams up there at the front at the end. Petty Enterprises did well today. Crown Jr. gets 6th. Hunter Reed gets 8th. Between them, Lathan Strickland in 7th. It was really Hendrick Motorsports' only bullet to try and keep that win streak at Atlanta alive here today. Evan Hunter and Tim Gary from MB2 crossed the line together. Hunter 9th, Gary 10th, and for Tim Gary, it is the championship, adding yet another top 10 to the 2004 stats. Chris Jericho from way back in the field gets 11th. Very solid, gritty day for him. Same with Belladonna in 12th. Ryan Wilson with a top 15. And Drew Webb gets a top 15. 14th place from the back, but that's all he needed to do. He beats Ahmed Wallet. They came in 1 point separated for the Rookie of the Year honors, and Drew Webb leaves as Rookie of the Year as he gets a top 15. Ahmed Wallet down there in 20th place. See, DEI did very consistent today. Wilson 13th. Hernandez 15th. Eli Bright 16th, so they have some momentum riding high for the 2005 season. Martinelli came from all the way at the back, played a different strategy, got to lead a lap. He ends up in 17th here today. Jerry Chen, Zachary DeLello also inside the top 20. Evans came forward towards the end of the race, was kind of outside the top 30 for a lot of it. Seidel also there. Good run for Marcus Lurbens at the top 30. Atkins never had the car today. He finishes in 27th. Matthew Burnett, who was looking for the Atlanta sweep, finishes 25th. See Max Davis there, 29th. We'll have to see if that's enough points over Prey McShane to get that car into the top 35 in owners points for next season. See Keyshawn Richardson, he struggled here at this new Atlanta configuration. 26.8 his average finish, and he finishes 30th here today. Keegan Thompson from pole, 31st. Simon Oskin from 5th, 33rd. Even Sarah Kirchner from 3rd ends up 38th. So the 3 drivers that started in the first 3 rows on the inside all finished outside the top 30 here today. We had said Fitzwater fell lap down. He also started pretty well and raced well at the beginning of this race, and then 5 laps down each for Luke Rainey and Prey McShane. Their issues on pit road caused them to finish well off the lead lap and in the bottom 2 positions. And for Luke, it took away any little chance he had at a championship here this season. So Trey, final thoughts from Atlanta and the season as a whole. Kukulon and RCR dominate down the stretch. Tim Gary just out consistencies the rest of the field to win this championship here in 2004.
Yeah, I mean, this season was something here. Went from what was it, the first quarter of the season, it was about 7-10 guys able to win it. Halfway through the season, it was down to maybe 4 or 5. 3/4 of the way through the season, it was down to 3, and then the last handful of races, it was down to 2. And then finally, in this last race, you had Luke Rainey versus Tim Gary. Unfortunately, Luke Rainey had some troubles on pit road there, put him multiple laps down, and 100% out of the contention to win this championship. And Tim Gary did, is it safe to say the absolute bare minimum the entire season, because he didn't win a single race to win this championship, and he's the one that walks home at the end of the day with the trophy?
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if it's necessarily bare minimum, because he's done so many top 5s and top 10s, and he's been so consistent. His average finish is amazing. But it's something that we've never seen before in the Nextel Cup Series, where someone's so consistent that they make it so impossible, and they kind of just crush the hopes of everyone else every single race, right? You go and you say, all right, that number 10 car, they're stuck back there in 16th. We're up inside the top 5. And then something happens with pit strategy, or something happens with adjustments on pit road, and then all of a sudden you're saying, how'd the 10 car get up to 4th place, and we're now stuck back in 13th, right? It's kind of been like that the last few races, and here today, unfortunately for Tim, he didn't have the best of car in the second half of the race. It really looked like it was worse than what it was in the first half of the race, but for him, unfortunately, he didn't get to battle with Luke Rainey for the end of the race, because Luke fell off pace on pit road with his issues there. But this is the end of the 2004 season. Tim Gary on top, MB2 and Dodge on top for the first ever times. Tim Gary is the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion. Congratulations to he, MB2 Motorsports, and the entire 10 team on the championship here in 2004. And for Trey Bart, I'm Joe Rutkowski. So long on JRTV,